for this guy. First and foremost, that means posing. With all my characters, I try to at least make them feel like they're coming to life. And in this case, I thought like a frame from a moment while he's maybe walking through a dungeon, looking around corners and stuff. We got the dragon. I thought, why not bring in the dungeon? For reference, again, I used myself doing my best sort of dragon hunter impression, really embodying the character. I posed him in ZBrush using Transpose Master and just moving everything around by hand. I used a little trick of making long little objects poking out the eyes so that I can also have them converge on a point for the camera. After having the posed version, then I exported everything and brought it back into Blender and assigned those materials. For getting the hair on the posed version, similar to Maya where you would use a blend shape, in Blender you would use a shape key. So by using my new posed mesh as the shape key, I can snap my original model into position and bring over the hair, the beard, and the fuzz. But this scene is still missing an important ingredient. Fire. Obviously fire. I mean, come on. Okay, but first I have to figure out how to do fire. So what I did was a quick test just to even see if I could make a flaming sword in Blender. And I used a few tutorials and documentation online. Shout out to Polyfjord for his awesome tutorials. The results of my test seemed good enough that I thought maybe I could pull it off. So I jumped back into the real scene and began forging the hottest of swords. Ultimately, it came down to the voxel size, and I just wasn't feeling this chunky, boxy fire. I'm not trying to make Minecraft fire over here. Before abandoning the idea, I did some research and I hit up some of my VFX wizard friends, and they recommended software called Embergen. I'd actually heard of this magical software before, but I figured it was over my head. But now I was desperate, we've come this far. So I went to the website and I got the free trial, and guess what? I made a flaming sword. It was honestly pretty easy to use, and it produced awesome results. Just shout out to Embergen for being dope. It can even export VDBs, and you can include temperature, which allowed me to plug in Blender's own volume material to finalize the look in the scene. Still, I don't think this is feeling epic enough. I want to build out this dungeon environment, and I think it's fun to include as many things as possible in the actual 3D scene. So I imported a couple cloud assets that I already had in my library, and I laid them down on the floor here to help create like a smoky atmosphere and make things feel more epic. Next, I brought in a couple assets from the Quixel Megascans library. So again, it's free for me to just do a little search, and I brought in like an archway and then some ground covering. I assigned the textures into a material, really simple. The archway is pretty much just exactly as is. I just brought it in and it's in the background, so I didn't even use displacement. It's just there to be in the depth of field and have light interaction. And then I tweaked the material of the ground to make it more dark, kind of a dungeon ground, but just have a ground there in general to interact, to make the scene a lot more cinematic and fleshed out. So now the pieces are finally in place. I can start to focus on creating final renders and images to build a presentation for this project, and that presentation will eventually be published at artstation.com, who is also the sponsor of this video. So thank you to them for that. ArtStation is a website that lets you easily host your portfolio online and get the eyeballs on it from people in the actual industry. It's free to sign up and use. I feel like I don't need to tell you that if you watch my videos, but I do want to tell you about the ArtStation Pro membership. I've had a Pro membership for as many years as they've had it. And what I love about it is just being able to share higher quality images and videos and be able to host my own branded website. So my website, artofjhill.com, is an ArtStation website. ArtStation is where I publish my projects, so I don't want to have to manage a separate website and upload it. And the fact that with ArtStation, I can have my portfolio, my online store, my blog, all in one place, all in one platform, and I don't have to cross-post and all that stuff. It just makes my life easier. And their Learn platform, which is still free at this time, is an insane value. I think artstation.com is a no-brainer to sign up. It's free. If you get more serious about posting your work, trying to get hired, that sort of thing, or you just want to take advantage of all those extra features, then sign up for a pro membership. And when you do, use code JHILL30 to save 30% off. That's essentially 2 months off of a year membership. On this project, I rendered several different high resolution images and video, and I tried to organize my presentation so that the more someone scrolls, the more kind of nerdy details they get. I want to show off the character and the model in several different lighting environments and angles, including close-ups, to give people time to appreciate if they want to. So definitely first finish this video and then head over to artstation.com/jhill to check out this final presentation. And if you want to become a pro member, remember to use code JHILL30 to save 30%. So we've got our presentation put together at ArtStation, which you can check out, but this is a YouTube video. You know, we've come this far, so why not go a little farther? I wanted to move the camera around and make some videos here. And so I ended up creating another scene, and I added a few different cameras. And by creating markers on the timeline and linking those to the different cameras, I can create a sequence that will cut between them. I knew I didn't have enough time to render this whole thing, even though I do have 2 computers. One little section that was about 3 seconds long took my machine with a 4090 card like 2 days to render. So I tried using a render farm for the first time, and now a couple $1,000s later, and a few hundred rendering hours later, I finally have a video sequence that I can share with you guys. And here's that video now. And that is how I made this Dragon Hunter with Blender and ZBrush and Substance. So obviously learned a ton on this one. And I think the main takeaway though that I want to share with you is just that take your time with your personal projects. Sometimes people put limitations on themselves. And I think when you're doing your personal projects, the sky's the limit. You know, obviously we want to be fast. We want to be efficient. But speed comes with confidence, which comes from experience, which comes from practice. We have to be practicing to build all these things. And that's what we're doing right now. We're practicing. So personal work is the perfect time to try new things, you know, to fail, to take on too much. And I think, you know, if it takes a long time, it takes a long time. To me, what's important is doing it, going through it, achieving the goals you set out to do. And if it takes a long time, it takes a long time. So just don't give up on your projects. Be relentless. On to the next one. Peace out.
See you next time.